Good morning. It's another fresh edition of your Breakfast on Leadership Television inside Nigeria. My name is Winifred Weber, your host on the program. On today's show, we're looking at new review of Leadership newspaper, the nation's most influential newspaper. And of course, we have a guest joining in on Kize, public affairs analyst by name Kodumi Samuel. He's a public affairs analyst. I'll be having him join us shortly virtual to analyze some of the trending issues and videos we have on our lineup today. Without wasting much time, let's head up to Leadership and see what Leadership is offering this Thursday, October 16, 2025. Leadership's leading story, of course, it follows, considering the gale of defections that has hit PDP in the last 48 hours. It's on Tuesday, it was the Enugu State Governor, and just yesterday, the Governor of Bayelsa State, Doye Diri, left PDP train. And that is where Leadership's leading story is on today. Reactions as two People's Democratic Party governors defect within 48 hours. Reactions as two People's Democratic Party governors defect within 48 hours. Governor Diri dumps PDP after Mba joined ruling party on Tuesday. However, contrary to Mba's defection to APC, Governor Diri is here to make his party that is defecting to known to the public. Governor's defection, part of one party state conspiracy coming from African Democratic Congress. We have video of both governors doing for their defection. Why Governor Mba of Enugu State did his in a live telecast, Governor Diri announced his exit from PDP during the State Executive Council meeting yesterday in Bayelsa, Yenagua.
My membership of the People's Democratic Party. And I'm not going to resign alone. And as you can see, I'm here with Mr. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and all the members of our party who are going to go with me. There are some who are not here because they are on official assignments. And so today, I have formally resigned my membership of the People's Democratic Party for very obvious reasons. I'm grateful to all my friends and supporters who have stood by us and with us. And I want to thank all of you again and again. And together, we will continue to build a strong and virile Bayelsa State and a strong and virile country by extension. Once again, I appreciate you. I thank you all, and may God bless Bayelsa State. Thank you. My membership of the People's Democratic Party. And I'm not going to resign alone. And as you can see, I'm here with the Speaker and all the members of our party. There are some who are not here because they are on official assignments. And so today, I have formally resigned my membership of the People's Democratic Party for very obvious reasons. I'm grateful to all my friends and supporters who have stood by us and with us. And I want to thank all of you again and again. And together, we will continue to build a strong and virile Bayelsa State and a strong and virile country by extension. Once again.
Who is our public affairs analyst, Kodumi Samye, to join the conversation on the gale of defections that hit Nigerian political parties. Good morning.
Good
Samye, good
morning.
morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay, it's good to have you on the program. Welcome once again. Of course, you are not longer a stranger to what's been playing out within 48 hours in the Nigeria's political scene. On Tuesday, we have the governor of Enugu State, Umba, defecting to APC, the ruling All Progressives Congress Party. And just yesterday, we have the governor of Bayelsa State, Duoye Diri, also resigning from the People's Democratic Party. Just within 48 hours, we have two governors defecting from PDP. What is happening? What is the implication for Nigeria's democracy?
Well, good morning once again.
Good morning.
From my own point of view, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me? All right.
Yes,
From
we
my own
can.
very point of view, I don't think. All right. I don't think it is healthy. I don't think it is healthy for Nigerian political sphere, simply because one party system has not been an advantage with respect to the development of the economy. Of course, most politicians, especially the APC, will be glad and happy. They will be glad with what is happening. But the fact is that when a country is running on one political party, when we just have a single political party, the dividend of democracy doesn't get to the populace easily. Do you understand? Though it is to the advantage of the politicians, that mean those of the APC, and also it will be, I'm sure the president will be happy about it. But what advantage will it bring to the masses? That's the question. So I don't buy the idea, because when there is formidable opposition, those in government will stand the ground and do the needful for the development of the country. Hello?
Hearing you.
Hello?
Yes, I'm hearing you, Samuel. Continue your conversation.
So as I've said, to my own, I don't agree with it. I don't like it, because if there is no formidable opposition, as I've said, government in power, they don't do up to what is expected of them. So to me, it is detrimental to Nigerians. It is not a welcome idea. But to politicians, as I've said earlier, APC, they will be happy about it. They want to sweep the whole 36 states. And this will just give them that opportunity to act the way they like. For example, look at the Senate now. There's no formidable opposition in the Senate that will scrutinize whatever bill that is brought to the House of Assembly critically, simply because of the fact that we are now having something like one political system. So to me, as a person, it's not a welcome idea. Thank you.
No, Samuel, don't you also think, what about the implication for the ruling All Progressives Congress Party? They are defecting to people with various personal interests coming together. Is the party not so primed for implosion?
So as I've said earlier, I said when we look at it from the angle of the party, of course it is to their own advantage. Do you understand? It's their own advantage, but we should put into consideration Nigerians. One thing is that if there is no formidable opposition in the system, how do you expect them to perform well? That's just the truth. Because you see, the impact of opposition in the system is on the high side. It's not just to insult, it's not just to to lie, but it makes sure that the government is in power are doing their best. But as it is that we have one point, yes, it is to the advantage of APC. Yeah, yes. But what about Nigerians? You don't. You even when there is. All right. I can hear you.
Yes, I'm looking ahead. Let's look ahead to
Hello.
2027. What happens when they begin
All
to
right.
slug it out for seats? Talking about the ruling All
Hello.
Progressives Congress.
Yes, you said in
I said, what
2027.
happens in 2027 with this scale of defections to APC? What happens when they have to slug it out for particular seats in the forthcoming 2027 elections?
One thing is that you see, it's a game of politics. I don't think there will be any problem with respect to that, because before defection there will be an agreement. They don't just defect. There's actually an internal agreement, a system that is set for to take care of that.
Okay.
For example, now maybe okay, if I become the president, if this one becomes the governor, I'll give you CBN. You become the CBN governor. You become the minister of this and that. There's an internal arrangement with respect to that. So I don't think that will cause any problem.
All right, thank you so much. Moving away from politics, on the cover of Leadership today is another conversation. Leadership's 2023 conference speaker, Raila Odinga, dies at 80.
Wow.
Yes.
All right.
Former Prime Minister of Kenya and foremost politician in the East African country, Raila Amolu Odinga, passed away in an Indian hospital in the early hours of Wednesday at the age of 80. Of course, tributes are poured in for the irrepressible politician who visited Nigeria for the last time in 2023 when he delivered the keynote address during the Leadership Conference and Awards for that year with the theme Credible Elections and an Economy in Transition. You have thoughts on that?
Go ahead. I'm with you.
Meanwhile, a torrent of tributes has poured in for Odinga. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu commiserated with the people and government of Kenya over the death of Odinga, one of Kenya's and Africa's political giants. What have you got to say to that? Because we know that the last election he keenly contested with the present Prime Minister, it was bitter, and at the end of the day, it ended up at the Supreme Court.
Well, Raila Odinga is an elder statesman, and is a juggernaut in the world of politics. And as a matter of fact, Kenya has lost somebody. It's not just last election; he has lost like 5 times in presidential election right now, and
Exactly.
he's still firm. And he's still firm in the political sphere.
Yes.
So, and there's something I learned about him. I think he do respect the rule of law to a degree, and also while he was in the he has been in the opposition for a very long time. And as I've said, when you talk about defection, then he has been checking the excesses of the leaders of Kenya for quite a very long time now. And he has also helping in shaping the political landscape of Kenya. So is someone that Kenyans will not just forget easily. I think they lost a very great man. Thank you.
Have the video of the late Raila Odinga at his last in 2023 when he was keynote speaker at Leadership's 2023 conference awards. Let's have the video.
In many of our countries today, election management bodies have been captured by the ruling parties or individual politicians, making it impossible to have fair contests. The capture leads to skewed processes like voter registration, appointment of election management officials with disastrous consequences. As a continent, we have to agree that critical development efforts cannot succeed without a legitimate and democratically elected government that is responsive and accountable to its citizens and to the investor community. Free and fair elections are indicators to investors that the government which is in place that believes in fairness and the rule of law. When a government comes in through a fair ballot, investors get the reassurance that their property will be respected, taxation will be fair, investment rules will be simple and clear, and they will not have to resort to corruption and bribery to set up or stay in business. In many of our countries today, election management bodies have been captured by the ruling parties or individual politicians, making it impossible to have fair contests. The capture leads to skewed processes like voter registration, appointment of election management officials with disastrous consequences. As a continent, we have to agree that critical development efforts cannot succeed without a legitimate and democratically elected government that is responsive and accountable to its citizens and to the investor community. Free and fair elections are indicators to investors that the government which is in place that believes in fairness and the rule of law. When a government comes in through a fair ballot, investors get the reassurance that their property will be respected, taxation will be fair, investment rules will be simple and clear, and they will not have to resort to corruption and bribery to set up or stay in business. In many of our countries today, election management bodies have been captured by the ruling parties or individual politicians, making it impossible to have fair contests.
That was the video of the last visit of Raila Odinga to Nigeria in 2023 award ceremony. May he so rest in peace. Moving ahead, Samuel, you are going to be joining the conversation soon because trending is after daring Peter Obi to sue him several times, Mr. Peter Obi finally sues Deji Adeyanju for 1.5 billion naira over defamatory social media posts. And that is what is trending. He, on the other hand, is doubling down on the issue. He says, finally, Peter Obi has sued me. I'm actually happy and relieved that he didn't chicken out in the end. Interestingly, he dragged me all the way to Anambra State, even though he's almost always in Abuja, where I reside. But no shaking, we move. I'll prove in court that Peter Obi is corrupt, a bigot, and a fraud. You will all be entertained, I promise. Meanwhile, the court orders or the reliefs Peter Obi seeks, I'll just take them one after the other. It says, an order compelling the defendant, which in this instance is Deji Adeyanju, to immediately retract and delete from all his social media platforms, including but not limited to his X handle, Adeyanju at Adeyanju Deji, his verified Facebook account, Adeyanju Deji, Instagram account, and any other online platforms or sites, all false and malicious publications describing the plaintiff, that is Peter Obi, with derogatory labels, including leader of a mob, religious bigot, fraud, scum, political fraud, political prostitute, allegations of financial misconduct, dishonesty, or abuse of office, which have harmed the plaintiff's personal, political, and professional reputation. These are just one of those reliefs being sought by Peter Obi, presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election in an Abuja court. So perhaps you want to join the conversation, Simon.
Yes.
What are your views? It's good. You know, we talk about freedom of expression, but how What boundaries does your freedom of expression, where does it end?
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, there's freedom of expression, there's freedom of speech,
Yes.
but when it comes to saying something negative that we think cannot be established, right, especially in the court of law, there's every tendency you move beyond your boundary. But if you have facts to back up whatever you're saying, then fine, you prove that in the court of law. And in the political space, they are fond of conducting personal vendetta, throwing tantrum at each other. And me personally, I see it as trying to gain relevance. If you want to, from looking at what the Jantel is saying, if you want to campaign for your person, that's sure, go ahead. But one thing I observe is that in politics, in order to gain ascension, they look into other people's weaknesses. He said it. He said a lot, and he also equally said he has proof. If he can prove it in the court of law, fine. But if he can't do that, then that's standard. So we can't just because of the fact that there is freedom of speech, we say anything we like, you condemn people. Take for example, there's this actress. What's her name? I've forgotten her name. There was a blogger saying a whole lot about her. So she took the blogger to the court. The question was that, can you prove this? Can you prove all that you're saying about this person? The blogger could not, and the blogger was jailed. So he took some relatives, some set of people, to go to her, plead with her before the blogger was released. If the Jadeyoju has a fact to back up what I think he said they should meet there in Enugu. So don't because we shouldn't because we have freedom of speech, we see anything, we just go haywire and decide to like demean people, say condescending things about people. But if he has a fact, no problem. But if he doesn't have a fact to back that up, it should be dealt with. So people will be put in place. All these things will be put in check. So something of that nature will not repeat itself.
All right. Thank you so much. And in another development, recently Shegume called for federal government's rapprochement that is granting amnesty to bandits, of course, which has continued to generate controversy across the country. We have the video of a bandits peace parley in Katsina State with the governor. Can we just have the video? Okay, just before they play the video, Samuel, what is your views? Are you of those that also join the clamor to grant amnesty to bandits or for the federal government to take a hardline stance against them?
Capital no, I'm not in support of having peace agreement with bandits. Capital no, no. What will come of that? Why are we going to benefit from that? Look at the whole thing. There's this high recidivism rate. You know what I mean? Pardoning people. At the end of the day, you find people committing that same act. So that does not help. If government can do all they could to ensure that our military are doing the needful, fight against this bandit. Because me, I don't believe in peace, all this peace accord, big agreement. Okay, look at what happened in Katsina.
Yes.
Those villagers said it was because of the fact that the neighboring council had peace agreement with the bandits. That was what gave them that effrontery to come and attack now. But they were sent from somewhere, like they were flushed out of Taraba. So ever since we've been having, because at least I've heard of all these peace agreements, whatever, in some villages, in some towns, and after some months, those towns will still be under attack, under siege. So what's the essence of having peace agreement?
Okay.
Let's nip the nail at the bud. Let's nip it in the bud. Let's deal with it once and for all. Let the government, federal government, the state government come up with necessary measures to handle this case.
However, Sam, if I may intervene, the war or the battle against these bandits has continued for so long that many feel that no kinetic approach is the way out.
Let me tell you, the truth of the matter is we are not doing enough. General Sani Abacha said something some years back. He said, any insurgency that is more than 24 hours, there's some element of government being involved. I was discussing with some of my people sometimes back. I said, if the issue of banditry will be swept into oblivion, there's some necessary measures to be taken. Very, very, very vital ones. You see, I don't. If at times if you talk, it will seem as if one might be sounding tribalistic. Some people might find it religious bigotry and all. But let me tell you, if all the northern leaders, let's start from the north, if all the northern politicians, regardless of the parties they are, the emirs come together on this issue of banditry, if they come together, take a unanimous decision, act in one accord, I'm telling you, this issue of banditry will be swept into oblivion. The needful is yet to be done. That's just the truth.
All right, thank you so much. Another trending story is the issue of state pardon. Recently, just last week, during the state council meeting, President Bola Tinubu gave state pardon to about 175 people who were serving various jail terms, including life sentences. And this has not gone well with a majority of Nigerians who said that the state pardon is being abused. And among those that was given state pardon is that of Miriam Sanda, who was sentenced to was sentenced to death for the killing of her husband. However, a trendy video shows the father who has come out to say that he's all in support of that. What are your views? However, the family of the deceased, on the other hand, took pages of advert to lampoon the president for giving state pardon to someone who they claim snuffed the life out of their nephew and son.
All right. In addressing this issue, uh, it's a two-way thing right now. Now, let's assume that the person that granted this presidential pardon is not Tinubu.
I'm happy the federal government
How
is
would
pleased.
the masses feel? How would they handle this matter? Now, the state of the country is not smiling right now. That's what the truth. So as a result, people were taking these things, this presidential pardon, personal to a degree. Okay, what of because if you look at some state governors, they have done things something similar in the past. For example, I think I can remember that of Osun State. I think there wasn't like. Are you with me? Hello.
Yes, I'm listening to you.
Okay, now so there was no noise and all, but I believe it's because of what the way the system is right now. Things are not really really rosy. The country is hard. That was why people are taking it personal from the first angle. Then from the second angle, I'm not down with it. I'm not okay with it. Somebody committed murder. The Sandra particularly committed murder, and the person was sentenced to life imprisonment, even what's it called, capital. I think it's capital punishment, and the person was released just like that. What if I happen to be the family of the man, the deceased, the person that was killed? I wouldn't be happy with that. And also, what is the message the president and whatever all those that sat down to come up with this pattern of a thing? What do they expect from the something of that nature could also happen. And maybe the person that perpetrated the act would know someone in power, and such person will also be granted presidential pardon.
Okay.
And this could also increase domestic violence and all. It is not acceptable to me. And look at the issue of all the issue of the drug baron that were released. And if you want to grant pardon, we should look critically into the case. If you have some people that have spent more than half
Yes.
of their years, that is understandable. If you have spent more than 50%, probably 75%, okay, fine. We believe that
Yes.
maybe you are duly rehabilitated, and also you engage in what's it called engage in maybe you're going to school now, National Open University, according to what they said. While some people are learning, we're learning one or two. You understand? That is understandable. But in a situation whereby you spend a year or 2 years, you have not spent even up to 40% of your jail time, and you are released.
And you are released.
It's not acceptable to me.
Yes. All right.
So
Thank
it's
you
not
so much,
acceptable to
Sam.
me.
Time is running against us. But lastly, we have the video of Madagascar military taking over power after Gen Z protests forced Rajolina's flight. What is happening here, Samuel? Is it just like Arab Spring, where the Gen Zs are taking control of their political movement in countries now?
Another question is this: what are the values instilled in the Gen Zs? We should look at the values. It's not about social media, whatever, writing, this or that. I think most of what is happening now, of course, it boils down to the inactions of the government.
Yes.
It boils out to them not functioning well. Because if you are doing the needful, the country is okay, people are enjoying, not some things of that nature will not happen. But the fact is that the Gen Zs that are clamoring for all these things, what are the values instilled in them? Okay, when they give you that power for you to rule, what will be your contribution? What the experience and all? So we might clamor for this, we might clamor for change of power, this and that. Do we know how it's been done? Okay, when you are given the what's it called, the opportunity to rule, can you, whereby most of the Gen Zs are now doing are engaging in illicit acts up and down,
Oh,
here
yeah,
and
yeah.
there, no values, and no values. They will tell you education is a scam, a whole lot. So even you, what will be your contribution to the system? And again, this will send a signal to our leaders, that they have to fasten their belts and do the needful in ensuring that various countries are growing and people are enjoying dividend of democracy. It's a message, actually.
All right, thank you so much. It's on this note we conclude today's Inside Nigeria, brought to you on Leadership Television. Well, we've had the pleasure of having here today our virtual guest, Kodumi Samuel, who joined us virtually. Samuel, thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very
It's
much.
been a pleasure having you on the program, and I look forward to having you some other time on the program. Well, don't forget to join
Same
our
here.
viewers on this same station for News on the Hour. My name is Winifred Webo. Thanks for joining us once again.
Thank you for watching and advert placements. Please contact 080-3688-6158. Last word, ladies.